hey. Let me add some music in the background and then we can get started. There we go. This should be fine. Let's keep it like that. Let me turn this down a bit. Actually, there we go. Okay, I imagine this is too loud, so let me turn it down a bit. Somewhere here. Okay, I hope this is working. All right, let's get started. Create. And let's double this. Usually like to work at the double size of what we have here. There we go. So welcome, by the way, everybody. Feel free to ask me questions, feel free to draw along. It's just, I was a bit busy the last week, so I didn't quite have time to. I have some concepts for videos, but I like to keep them a bit more spontaneous, so I didn't particularly come up with a specific one for this week. I think my chat is not working. Let me check it somewhere else. Give me 1 minute. I don't know if you're actually writing or not, because silly me. Okay, there we go. That's better. Hi, I'm from Indonesia and it's 1 a.m. here. So if you're from Indonesia and it's night, that should be Salamat Malam, right? That's the correct way, if I remember correctly. Salamat Pagi is the day, yeah. So yeah, welcome everybody. I was thinking of not drawing a robot for once, but I wanted to draw a boombox and a cassette, maybe a cassette tape. Andres Alvarez, welcome from Barcelona. Okay, so let me just zoom in a little bit. How's Barcelona in these times? Okay, so I might have to switch away from Photoshop because for some reason Adobe is brilliant and Photoshop is buggy as hell, at least the latest version. I keep on losing pressure sensitivity all the time. So let's see. Okay, this is definitely too short, now I can see that. So okay, so just a quick plan. I just wanted to draw sort of a boombox and a cassette tape. Let's see how that works out. Selena Zunino. That's more Italian. Doesn't sound very German. But guten Abend, Selina. Willkommen zu meinem Stream. Ich hoffe, dir gefällt's auch. Hi, good to see you. Hey, Dijan. Nice to have you here, buddy. I'm happy you made it. I should draw an anime character once. No, sir. No, sir. Hi from Turkey. See, I wish I would know how to say hello in Turkey, which is a shame because my girlfriend is Turkish, so I feel very bad right now. Yeah, I should have learned that by now. Okay. Ferda Basaki. That's a good name. I like that name. Okay, there we go. Italian roots, but more from Argentina. Ah, you're one of those Argentinian Italian. I love you people. I had a couple of friends while I was studying at uni who came over from Argentina, and they had it much easier than the rest of the international crowd, because technically they were also Italian, a lot of them. So they had all the rights of European people, even though most of them didn't speak one word Italian. It was quite funny. There we go, something like this. Okay, so now zoom out a little bit and realize that the perspective is totally messed up. And let's try and fix that now. Yeah, that happens if one does not pay attention, right? There we go. Yeah, that perspective works quite a bit better. So, in the meantime, I thought I might ask you guys something. Since you're here, I was thinking of putting together break time. Well, perfect for talking. So I was thinking of putting together a sort of tutorial on the basics, but then going much more in depth than what I have here on YouTube. Obviously, for money. So I'm curious if anybody would be interested in learning the basics, like lines, where and how to use line weight, and then slowly going into perspective and stuff like that. Or what your opinion is on tutorials like that, or if you think it's enough what you got from me on here on YouTube and you wouldn't be interested in anything like that. So just voice your opinions. I'm just curious. Okay, let's what was Q? Not working. Image rotation. There we go. So it's important to flip the canvas every now and then, because then stuff like what happened to me before with the messed up perspective, you notice much earlier and you can fix it. So this probably will need some sort of handles on which I'm working right now. And those handles would be something here, right? Something like this. Interesting that this is not working. There we go. I think this is sort of working, isn't it? So then it would go down there and then around here, something like that. But it's just a sketching phase, so I'm not really concerned about being super precise with my lines just yet. So if there was, what was it, backwards, there was a play, there was a stop, there was maybe a record, and then a forwards, I think that's how it should be, at least. Dan Matthews Robin, are you using a Surface tablet? No, I am using a Vacom. So I don't know if you can see me here. It's a Vacom Cintiq. How can you draw straight lines with clicking somewhere? It's just you press shift and then just tap, 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 and it gives you straight lines from point to point. It's a good little cheat that you learn. But it is important for you to also learn how to draw straight lines without the shift. I would recommend you do that as well. You don't want to be too dependent on this. Okay, and then maybe we can add some sort of dials or whatever these things are called. There we go. It would be like this. Okay, so where's the cassette player? Would be here. Yeah, I might switch over to Sketchbook just because it's sort of a hassle doing ellipses in Photoshop. I'm really not the biggest fan of that, to be honest. So I think I'm just gonna let the indentation stay here. And then this is where the cassette tape would be. That's a bit too big, isn't it? So let's cut off some of its parts. For what is the boombox? Just for fun? Yes, City Night is mostly for fun. It's also a little bit, can we do that on Sketchbook app? Yeah, okay, I will, let me finish this pre-sketch and I'll switch over to Sketchbook. So I didn't really know what to draw or what to do with the whole American rioting situation. I'm an Eastern European kid and I grew up with a lot of American television, and I grew up sort of with hip-hop music, and I just never understood the whole racist part of people. But also I just didn't want to simply draw the hand or the fist, or I just didn't want to do just a black square. I didn't find that appropriate somehow. I wanted it to connect it to me somehow. And having grown up with hip hop music in the late 90s and early 2000s, this was for me the closest of just, yeah. People shouldn't just listen to the music. They should also listen to what people say and what people are asking for. Okay, actually I don't know how a cassette looks. I have to take a look at a reference for this one. Okay. Oh man, old times. Okay, this is much smaller, so that's my bad. And then there's a small slit here. And then the two things there. Yeah, that seems better. For how long have you been doing industrial design? It's a good question. I studied it from 2011 to 2014. And I've been doing visual thinking ever since, I guess. Actually, let me do it like this. So when I finished with my studies in 2014, I started doing visual thinking, which is not necessarily industrial design. It is just using everything that you learn in industrial design and applying it to businesses, I would say, but from time to time I also have some industrial design clients, but I don't strictly do only industrial design. Okay, so I switched to Sketchbook Pro and I'm going to continue here, and I'm going to try to not use the ruler, even though it might make this nicer or at least easier for me. But let's just try and do it without the ruler. Sadly, here in Sketchbook, the same trick doesn't work with the shift click. You can shift and then draw straight lines. So if you press down shift, as you can see, I can draw straight lines. Yeah, I am gonna go back on my word immediately and use the ruler. There we go. But I will not use the ruler everywhere, just because I want the lines to be a little bit organic. There we go. I actually like that. And now let's put these ellipses, these nice ellipses down. I feel something like this, almost there. It's pretty close. Let's take a break, because Windows tells us to take a break, and it's good to listen. There we go. So now I can go back and continue. Just gonna elevate this a little bit, like there. Maybe a bit too much. Yeah, that's better. And I'm gonna make these lines just a bit stronger. On the inside, and then I could go a little bit smaller in there as well, and just a little bit smaller. I feel it's a bit too much, really. Yeah, I think I will stop with those two, and then maybe add this. More than enough. There we go. Hey Pablo, hey Sharon Sun, welcome to the stream. Just a little bit of shading there, and probably, let me see. It's easy to refine the center of the circle. You just have to fit your ellipse onto an ellipse that you drew before, and then just place it into, make it smaller technically, and then you have your center. There we go. And a little bit of rounding and shading for this one as well. Just like that. And let's see if I can cheat a little bit and then just copy paste this. Not really, can I? Looks a bit weird, but then we just take this morphing tool and try to adjust it a little bit. Well, before I do that, let me make it a little bit smaller. Because of perspective, that should become a bit smaller. I feel this could work. It's good because I put those lines in and I feel like the cross-section lines, and I feel like I can try and align those to be as vertical and horizontal as possible. Let's see. Not sure yet if they will work or not. I'll merge this down. Then I will try to find the right curvature here again, which seems to be this. Just a little bit. Maybe the angle should change and I can make it smaller. There we go, something like this. And now let's try and repeat this on the other side. I could have just redrawn the lips on this side, but why would you when you can also cheat a little bit from time to time, right? And let me take this tool. Yeah, see, I don't like this, it's interesting. So here it already shows you that I was cheating a little bit, because that angle is just way too strong. So what I'm going to design is just cut it off a little bit here, and then it won't be so weird when I cut it off here as well. Somewhere there, right? It will be not that jumping into your face. There you go. Pablo, would you agree that product designs have become less blocky and more curvy, less straight lines and more curves? I don't know, depends. Depends what you're looking at. In general, I would say, yeah, there was a shift away from blockiness. But it's also personal shape. If you look at furniture design, there's a lot of use of heavy materials like cement and metals that can be quite blocky. But then again, it's also like they use a lot of natural. What has been going on for a while, well, I don't know if it's still in fashion though, is pouring acrylic, I think, into wooden surfaces. That seems to be something that people really enjoy. So that is quite organic. But yeah, what are we looking at? If you look at, I don't know, stuff like the iPad, the latest iPad, right? It went from having a beveled back area on the, I don't know, iPad 2017 and earlier than that, to being super flat and rectangular in the 2018 and the versions from then on. Okay, here I feel like, okay, I'm handicapping myself by using the ruler too much. So let me not use it anymore. Let's just draw it as it is. Okay, this. There we go. Let's not use any rulers for a while. Let's see how long I can go without it. Actually, image, can I mirror the whole canvas. There we go. I like it. As I said that I don't want to use the ruler, I'm coming to longer surfaces where I will probably need to use the ruler. But here I can at least fix this a little bit. Just like that. I'm still confused about applying material from photo to the sketch that we draw on Sketchbook. I already watch your timeless, but it's too fast. I can show you in a bit. I can also just take a break. Okay, let's just use a new layer. And let me quickly draw up. Let's say we have a very blocky, well, maybe not too blocky. Okay, so I don't like this for sketching. I like this much more for sketching. So I'm gonna draw a quick sort of sofa, right? Just so I can apply some textures. Let's make it a bit more rounded, since we were talking. Now see, I don't like that roundedness. For me, rounded is a little bit more old school than if I would use nice sharp lines, but then you could use rounded in a different way. So let's say I round it like this. At least not rounded, but take away a little bit. And then this could come out a little bit. Once again, I'm not furniture designer, so don't expect this to be good or anything. And it's also very much on the fly, no thinking. This one I can erase because it's not really needed anymore. And we take another break before we come back. Yeah, these micro breaks are usually good because they force you to move a little bit your whole body. Okay, so obviously we'll need some sort of contour there as well. Let's say something like this, right? That's the shadow. Okay, so let me go and look up. Let me bring in a tab here. And let's say wood texture images. Now, what would be interesting? I would say this looks interesting. But you can see this is quite a close-up. Also, I forgot to say, so I usually put tools, size large, right? And I already lost that one. This is actually not bad at all. We'll just take it with the thing itself. Now, where are we? There we go. I would say like this. Make it smaller. Move it into shape. I'll bring it below the lines. And then I just press this one and try to fit it in here as well as I can. The thing is, you look at the creases and on the lines so they fit into the perspective. I would say this is pretty good, pretty fitting there. But we have that line, so before I do that, it would be smart to get rid of this line here, because that won't help me at all. Thank you so much for this design. They have really helped me. I'm very happy that you found them useful and that they helped you, man. That's why I do them. Question, which graphic tablet do you use? I use the Wacom Cintiq 13 HD. So once again, bring it down to size, take the warp tool, and then try to fit it in perspective, which is sort of this. And then I will do the same spiel again, paste in the image again, rotate it 90 degrees, make it small. Now what you can see is it might work better if I flip it 180, because there's a dark side here that might harmonize better with the dark side that I already have there. So see, that's what I mean. If there was a white area there, it would be a bit weird. And now the sun is hitting like crazy. Okay, so I can actually merge these two together, I feel. And I can paste in one again. Erase the black part, nobody cares. In there. I'm just gonna do this front part of it because I feel that's more than enough for a presentation. Okay, so as I said, we want it to fit the perspective. So that's why you have these longer lines, because that way it's going to be easier for you to see which perspective is the right one. Okay, and now with this one at least, I'm going to start. I bring down the opacity a little bit so I can see where I want to erase. So I'll erase this part, this is not useful. Also that lower part is not useful. This upper part I will paste in there again. I can bring up the opacity. Bring up the opacity for this one. Erase the area that I don't care about. Same here. Oh, is it? Yeah, up until there. Huh? There we go. So there's going to be a little bit of back and forth. You have to be very... I do not understand why Sketchbook doesn't have masks. It's really ridiculous. We're at Sketchbook for so many years and we still don't have masks. I really, that is something that I will never understand. Okay, take the warp tool again, and so I want to put it at this point here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So you see this point, I want that to be, so I'm just following that line and I'm adjusting it to the line I drew there. Once again, there's the line. Here it is. And I'll make sure for it to be in perspective again, right? That's important. Maybe pull it out a little bit. There you go. And now I just turn on these two and erase everything that's not useful for me, like everything here. And you can also use the lesser tool to make your life a little bit easier and faster. There we go. And now I can bring everything back. And this would be the perspective. Well, not perspective, this would be the texture. Don't worry about the bookmarks, we don't care about that now. That's not what we're here for. Now, what we can do actually, aside from this, is I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to just fill it up with whatever color. Let's choose, let's go to our grays. I'll take a C3, fill it up with C3. Actually, let's go for warms. Let's go for a warm 4. There we go. Just because it's wood, and wood is supposed to be warm, right? So, oh, that's, I need a thick brush there. There we go. Just like that, fill the rest of it. So now I'm doing this because the wood is just texture, and the texture is not going to do anything for us without some light information. So let me do also this part as well, just a little bit, so we have some consistency here. There we go. just like that. Okay, so now we have this area, and what I usually like to say is, okay, so we have a light source here, right? We have our little bulb that is shining in every direction, but for us it's pushing light from there. So which means this is going to be the light side, and this is going to be the dark side. And I'm just gonna draw a little box here, just so everybody understands it. So once again, light and dark. So that means that this is going to be the dark side and these two are going to be light side. So I'm going to lock this layer now so I can draw easily over it. I go back to my, this time semi-strong color. I'm going to pick, well, let's go on, this is V4, let's do a V6. There we go. Just going to paint it in a little bit. And I'm saying, yeah, let's just do the whole thing. Let's give it a strong shadow area, just like that. And then you can play a little bit around. Obviously here there's going to be a little bit of cast shadow, and you can also come a little bit forward because maybe the less light hits. So the most of the light is here in the front. You can do the same here, just like this. There's no cast shadow there, but you can come with a little bit of dark from the back and a little bit of dark from below, right? And now, actually what I can do, I'm gonna take a W3 and just bring in some light there. Just on the upper one. Let's say the upper one is hit a bit more. There we go. And this side is hit even stronger by that. Yeah, I kind of like that a lot. So let's stick with that. Here, let's strengthen this color shadow. And then here we have more darkness. I'm gonna go with the V7, W7. You have a little bit of ambient occlusion here and here. Just a tiny bit. And then here you have a lot more shadow. I would even dare to go up to a W8 and bring in a bit more, just like that. And then I will touch this ambient occlusion area with the W8 as well. Just a little bit. There we go. And now let's bring back our texture. And it's break time again, so I guess it's a good moment to have a break. And then after this very short break, I'll drink a little bit of water. Good lemonade. Okay, so we have our texture layers here, but they are just normal layers, and what we need usually, what's good overlay is something that I like using, but it's also good if you try out several layer options, which one works best for you. I feel like, oh, hard light is interesting, so let's put all of them on hard light. Hard light and this one on hard light. So this sort of takes the information that we have below the colors. Okay, let me try overlay again, because I'm not that taken by hard light. Yeah, I feel like this works a little bit better with our color information. Okay, because it's a bit too, I would say, sicklish, I'll bring in some of the dark again. Let's see how it reacts to that. And from here as well. So turn these on. There you go. I would say it's interesting, but this is interesting how this is too dark. Okay, new question. It's so fun to take a break for a while. What app is that? Let me type it in here as well. It's WorkRave. WorkRave. Or if you have Mac, you should use Timeout. Timeout for Mac. There you go. So I don't like how that looks. So one thing that you can do is, if you like this color, I don't particularly like the color. So I'm going to, let's see, image, adjustments, color balance? No, hue saturation. Image, adjustments, and hue saturation. So I'm going to move the hue up the saturation, yeah. And I want it in the reddish area, maybe a bit darker. Just a little bit. And I feel it like it goes to the purple too fast. See, this is why, yeah, that's better. That's better. But let me see if we can adjust this a bit more. So let's go to color balance. A bit more red. Doesn't work. Green. Yeah. But see, it already works better with the wood texture, and I feel like I could go darker on the dark side. So whatever this was, we bring it closer to a dark. And I just go over it again. Make sure to, yeah, here as well. The whole thing is a bit darker. Then under the seat area, obviously it can be even darker, and then a little bit of ambient occlusion there. There, so I like this already a bit more, even though it's a bit too dark now, but hey, that's, you're experimenting a bit. So I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit. It's always worth experimenting until you find, I think I like this. I think I like this quite a bit. I can work with this. Okay, and then we have this, and I just make a layer on top of it, and you can pick a little bit of the wood itself and just paint over it a little bit. So that the easiest thing, like usually what happens is you have wear and tear, right? So I'll take actually the sketching brush and just go in at the edges. I go in with the lightest that I can find here, which is this, I would say. And I make it even a bit lighter. Then, there you go. Like, you know, like at the edges you usually, because people always touch the edges and the edges get a little bit worn down easier. So you can add a little bit of this wear and tear. And also like here you have a little bit of this sort of, I don't know what I would call that, but just degradation of this nice strong edge. Thanks for your informative videos. First of all, I applied to study production design now as well. It has helped me a lot to make my drawings. So I'm very happy to hear that. Always happy to hear that. I just had my interview and presentation before. You were a big help to me. Thank you. Well, glad to hear that. Yeah, I'm streaming today because I was a bit busy and didn't get around to do the video I wanted. So glad that you could catch me. Okay, and then you can always have a little bit of hits as well. So if something hit against it, you can have a stronger, and you can also come in with the dark a little bit where some shadow thrown over it. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of using textures. Like now I could just do the same thing for the other side as well, since I'm here. I'll put it on overlay. Oh, what happened there? Oh, there it is. So maybe I shouldn't put it on overlay just yet. I'll put it on multiply. There we go. That's helpful. 90 degrees. Make it smaller. And then warp it onto that side, fit it into perspective. Yeah, I would say that looks good. Now I can switch it to overlay. Do you want to see my drawing and say something about it? Maybe it wouldn't mean so much to you. Sure, man. Let me see your drawing. Put a link in there, and I'll take a look at it. And there's no music. Why is there no music? But there we go. And same thing again. Oh, where is our wooden? There we go. Copy image. There we go. So the same spiel again. Rotate it a bit. And then just make sure to match that perspective. It's really important that you match the perspective, because that's the one that sells your piece of furniture. There we go. Overlay. Can merge these two together. I would cut these parts away. And I feel like here this part is a bit too much. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. No, I wasn't erasing. Now I'm erasing. What do you use for all your drawings? What do you mean, Dave? I don't use one thing for all my drawings. I use a whole lot of different things for every single drawing. So once again, I'm trying to flatten or put this wooden texture onto the surface, like this little square here, right? So it needs to sort of fit that well, like that. And then I go into, well, before I go into overlay, let me just erase these parts. Just like that. Okay, so there's not too much to erase. I go to overlay. The good thing is also, like, sooner or later you can start merging all of these together. This is my presentation. Oh, I don't see your presentation, man. There's no link in the chat. What devices? Well, I use my computer most of the time, and I also use my iPad Pro. And then one more piece of the wood. "90 degrees, make it smaller. Let's take a different tile. Don't use the same tile. So for this one, I use this leftmost tile. So here I'm going to go somewhere more in the middle. And it's a little bit finicky work, but it's definitely worth putting in the effort. There we go. It's better to be outside of the lines, because then you have plenty of areas to erase them being inside of the lines and then not having enough material to work with. Is there? Yeah, I erased a bit too much there, so I had to backstep a little bit. Alright, this can also be overlay. And now I'm just going to merge all of these together. As you could see, I forgot to erase. Oh, I forgot to erase a little bit here. So this is not needed. Technically, I wouldn't erase this because I just would paint the cushion thingy over it. Oh, yes, it might be possible that you can't. Let me see if I can manage participant. Yeah, try chopping it up. Or you could just, if you're following me on Instagram, you can send me a DM. And I can take a look at it there. That's actually a solution as well. Oh, now I feel like continuing with this chair. So the same thing as I had here, I would say it's definitely worth doing the same sort of wear and tear. You can also go the direction of a little bit of more shine. So here, yeah, I forgot here on the bottom, it's worth, because there probably it hits the ground a lot and it's maybe being moved around a lot. So I would say here it might have even more of these lines. And then if you want it to have a bit more shine, what you can do is just create a new layer, take an airbrush, and usually go with a very almost white airbrush and go over it a little bit, make it bigger. And then you can play around with the layer options again. Let me see which one. Glow. I like this, and I'll just bring down the opacity a bit. And then you can also move it around a little bit. Let's say there, and you can copy paste it a little bit, and then have another glow here. But this here I find quite strong, so I'm gonna bring it down even more. Well, actually, I'm just gonna, where's my lasso tool? There we go, so I'm gonna erase it a bit. You sent it on Instagram, okay, let me take a look. Just a second. Let's see what we have here. So let me bring these over here. It's 1, it's 2, and that's 3. Okay. So what would you like to have feedback on? Let's see what we can. Kannst du Balls befüllen mit heißer Nadel. So I don't know exactly what to give you feedback on. Oh, this is gonna be a longer break, so I'm not gonna do the whole thing. But I'm gonna move my neck a bit. Okay, let's say that's enough. Let's start here. So plastic filter, EcoBot. I imagine like this is one idea that you're trying to convey, right? Looking at this. Well, there's a difference. I just started painting digital a few weeks ago, thanks. Okay, so one thing that I mentioned as well, I'm just gonna print screen this. And I'm just gonna copy this part, I guess. All right. Erase. Zoom back in. Okay. So what do we have here? The idea is balls out of natural gum filled with microorganisms who eat plastic particles. So these balls would have the plastic eating bacteria in them, and then you put them into the trash where there's plastic, and that way you would get rid of the plastic, right? Riani Hilim, Salamat Malam, sleep well. I'm happy I was helpful. Okay, this is an interesting concept. I like it. I think explanation-wise, it's good. The only thing is that you have to pay a bit more attention to is when you're constructing something, like make sure to draw through objects. So when you're drawing a sphere, you can use those constructions, and when you're connecting this, maybe you want to see where that is connected, or if it's on that side, then, well, that's the weird thing, because if you look at this ball right here, let me draw it in 3D. You have the ball, then you have this opening area, and then this hole is here somewhere on the side, is what it looks like. So I don't know if you meant it that, because also so let's say maybe it's even more to the front. It's almost here, right? So if you look at it from above, so if we say this is the center line, right? And if you look at it from above, like this hole is here on the side. So I don't know if that's what you wanted to communicate, but you have to watch out, because if you want to, sometimes maybe it's better to just have two drawings. So one drawing would be, you have this thing here. Let me just not make that opening too big. So then all the enzymes and everything come out of here, and you can even say, okay, that's where it is, and give a cutting line maybe on that thing, and also make sure that this. I think you had a little bit of rotation there. Something, it looks like a little bit of rotation. So you can have your rotation and more things come out here. And then you can also just rotate this the other way. So you would say, so here's my ball, here's the hole where things could go in, and this would be one cutting line and this would be the other. And then on the other side where it's invisible, well, not invisible, but the sphere itself cuts it off from visibility, there you have this. And then you just go over with a little bit of stronger lines, make also your sphere a bit stronger. And then you can say like that. That's what I would have just made two views of this one. So this would be the hole where you have the entry, and then on that side the exit, and then you have these two drawings next to each other, and then it's sort of very clear what's happening. I'm struggling with perspective very much. Yes, that's the problem of many people, because they are a bit bored and they don't want to put in the effort into perspective, and then they're going to struggle. So imagine it's not a sphere, right? Imagine it's a square. So I have this square here, and then this is also not, this can also be square-ish instead of, what's the word? Jesus, it's getting late, I'm forgetting words. But if you draw it like this, then you sort of understand that the hole that is here on the back side is technically not visible. Like even if I rotate it all the way to the side, right, and I would be looking at it like this, the hole still wouldn't be visible. So if you imagine it like this, then you just put your sphere into it, then you could see a little bit of that hole just because of the nature of the sphere, but you would not see. So the giveaway here is, let me switch a little bit to a red. This one. So if you see this ellipse from the front, if this is in the or on the same line, let's say, it's not going to be visible because this has to be behind there. Otherwise, if it's not from the front, then this shouldn't be visible. And then I would say, yeah, okay, then this is our sort of exit point, and then this makes more sense, right? But because you have this line quite strongly here, that's not what I took away from it. So you have to watch out for that a little bit. And yeah, in general, what's important with when you're drawing digitally or non-digitally is make sure to have those line differences. So if you have a sphere, whatever, make sure that you have a little bit of line thickness on the bottom part, because that's where your shadow is, right? Like that. And then you can also just put a floating shadow to accentuate that a little bit. So if I was here, I would say, I see some shadow here, that's cross edge there, so you could make these lines a bit stronger. And because it's sitting on the ground here, like you could make this line a little bit stronger as well. So that means also that this can be a bit stronger. And this is not, so I'm gonna draw a cutting line here, and I'm just gonna copy this sort of curve all the way up here, right? And I'm gonna make a square out of it. And then if I put a ring into it, so this ring, see how different it looks from yours? Like this ring of yours, I feel like it should be here. Like the way you rotated it, it should be more on this side. If you want to have it here, it should be a bit bigger, the ellipse itself. So that's again, that's perspective. Because, let me come up here. So if you have, like if you know a little bit of 3D, that helps as well quite a bit. Let's say you have this, cone, the other one was cone. So, what's this called? Jesus Christ, whatever this is called. Okay, I will have to stop after this. Just break it into shapes. So like this, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And these sort of will give you the size and the direct cylinder. Exactly, sorry, yes, cylinder. Oh, it was a hard day. So these sort of give you the direction of your cylinder, the ellipses on the cylinder. So you will have them like this. So if here your cylinder is this slanted, I would put it here instead of here. So let me also draw it now without the rectangular thingies. So here it would be facing you, and then as you go around, it gets thinner and thinner. Same on the other side. Thinner and thinner. So think of it like this. That's what's happening here as well. And yeah, one more thing, and then I'll stop. Let me just take a red again, and I'm gonna take the ellipse tool. I'm just gonna try to approximate the ellipse that you have here. Go away. There we go. That's pretty good. So see, this is what's happening here, and that's not 3D. What should be happening there is something like this. So I should feel that this turning into there, but it doesn't turn because it has these sharp edges both here and here. Like those sharp edges are not 3D. So whenever you're drawing, like, you would have a smaller ellipse and a bigger ellipse there, I feel like, and then you can have these, but first you draw the ellipse, and once that ellipse is done, oh, it's a little bit, there we go. This feels more 3D because it turns. So you always make sure that you have these turns in there. Don't ever do this, because then you just get the sharp edge here that is just really not nice, and it's not 3D. Just like you have it here. Like this is much better. So that's what you should have here as well. See here, perfect. This is good, but here you didn't have it. So watch out for stuff like that. And yeah, the other two, I think, let me jump quickly back to the other two. Where are we? Here. This is good. I said this is pretty good. So I like your cylinder here, works better. So what about these two cylinders? I explained this in one of my tutorials. So if this is the horizon line, right? And if I draw an ellipse, let me first draw okay, that's a center line, and then this would be an ellipse. When you get closer to the horizon line, your ellipses get more and more squished together, slowly coming to almost a line. And this also happens sideways. So if I have a cylinder here, it becomes more and more and more squished as I move over with the camera. A little bit, I went a bit too far with the squishiness there, but that's sort of what's happening there. Oh, wait. Oh, you and your micro breaks. See, I have to be healthy. Can't even explain something. Oh. Okay, so yeah, so wherever the vanishing point is, your cylinders get a little bit smaller that way. So also if I draw one in perspective, they change. So you really don't have what you have here. This doesn't really exist in reality. So watch out for those as well. And when it comes to stuff like this, there we go. Paste it back here. Put a layer above it. So this is just something that you're just not used to it. You just have to look a little bit at storytelling, because yeah, that's important. So where is your main thing? So you have something here, and the hand here. This is just too much for title. Like you could position your things a little bit better. You could have brought maybe Oh, where is my eraser? You could have brought this more into the far shine, or maybe this here. Also, it's good if you have text here that goes here, then have text here that goes here maybe. And then if you need to put a title as well, then you can move this a little bit around and then still leave area for your title. And then move this up here. Now it's a little bit very crowded. A little space there that's super crowded. Dave, when are you planning to do the next live? I'm not sure yet. You can catch me a couple of nights a week on Instagram, because I stream quite often on Instagram. So you can catch me there for sure. But yeah, so just watch out with your storytelling a little bit. Don't squish. It's a visual thing. So if I teilen and zwei, whatever, that's, if you don't speak English, somebody will figure it out. Split, yeah. If you split it in two, you can see that there's much more stuff here, which makes it right heavy. So the whole composition is tilting a little bit to the right now. So it's something that you have to balance. But yeah, other than that, it's good stuff. Just watch out for the line weight and whatnot. There we go. I think now we're done. Eric, if you send me something quickly on Instagram, I'll take a look at it. Otherwise, I will. Yeah, I'm a bit tired. You can still send it to me on Instagram, and I'll make sure to reply when I have time. It's just I had a bit of a busy day, and it's a bit exhausting mentally. Hard to concentrate. I'm gonna do some low mental energy and just fill this up with a weird green color, because I feel like green might work for this. Yeah, as weird as it sounds, this actually might work. So let me take away the glow on this part because it's not needed. I don't know, I just feel like finishing this silly chair. Probably not a comfortable chair at all, but since I started working on it, why not? I left a little bit of the glow there, I see. This is good because this is no thinking and I can just work away. Very welcome, Selena. I'm happy you like them. Honestly, usually I'm more useful. It's just today that I'm a little bit too tired, I guess. Yeah, that's better. Okay, let's switch to the more paintery brush. Let's do a little bit of that ambient occlusion here. A little bit there. We have a little bit here as well. Technically here we also have a shadow that I forgot about. And then a little bit here. Okay, a bit there. I can bring in a little bit of lighter blue here. Okay, you sent it. Let's see what you sent. gear shift. Copy image. Would you like a specific something I comment about it? What would you would you like to know? What are you not totally unclear with when it comes to your drawing? Okay. Materials, finish and storytelling, I suppose. Okay. Then let us paste it in here. Oh, we don't need to blow it up. Okay. So one cheap thing that I usually do with things, I just put a frame around them. Just put the frame around everything. So just by putting a loose frame around it, I see that things are a little bit too much together and I'm on the wrong layer. So let me select this again. Yeah. Also, all the lines are the same zigzaggy thing. You don't need that. You can do it here or there. I wouldn't make it too zigzaggy that much because it's a little bit distracting. So you want that to be leather, okay. And I guess that's a display. And that's glass. Okay. So obviously the best thing is to take a look at leather. So I would really just take away the zigzagginess because I don't like it at all. Also, the leather is on this side. So now that I moved it a little bit, I would also put the text on this side. So you can... So if you want zigzag, you can still have a little bit there, but that's a bit too much. There's just no reason to go all the way there and back and there. It's a little bit... I do like the circle around it though. Don't know if it has a function there, but I do enjoy that. For the leather, this is good, so definitely the stitching helps, but then maybe you would have stitching probably down here as well. I feel I need it a little bit thinner. Let's go down to 5. So we'd probably have some stitching here as well. That might help. And let me just go do a quick, let's do this. Leather cover. Let me see if we find a good image. Let's go ball. Bible. Nah. I actually handle. That's too rough. You're probably not going for something as rough as that, right? So there we go, something like this. Wow, that's a huge image. I only need this part. Let's bring this a little bit closer. So I'm not going to do texture overlay, right? So just you can try and I want to see if trying to copy indefinitely it doesn't seem to be working for me. It's interesting because I never tried to draw a leather before, and it's worth trying out, just seeing if you can replicate the texture just by drawing it, but it seems to not be working for me. Was definitely, at least I feel like it's working for me, is doing these stitches, so that works. Then I would stick maybe to keeping it. I do like the roughness that you had here. I think that works too. The good thing with leather that it has a bit of shine, right? So you bring in the shadow here, and you can maybe bring in a little bit here, and with that you sort of give this shine here that it has. I don't know if the top of it is leather or not, but I'm just gonna make it not leather. So something like that. Glass is a little bit at least easier for me because it has a couple of areas that are highly reflective. Maybe it also has a couple of areas that are slightly translucent. There's some weird reflections going on in there. Just glass has more reflective areas, so you could also, let me see if real dark, you can go real dark, you can have it like a dark glassy area. Something like that, and then you can repeat a little bit of that here as well. So usually where there's a shift in volume, you have this bright area. You already made it here as well, a little bit visible. And that's a display. Does it say display? I think so, yeah. For the rest, it's pretty good. I really have not much comment to say. I like it. Be more brave with your shading. And that's easy for me to say because usually I'm also not the bravest with my shading. So that's why I know to tell you. Let's see, like here I would also just, like I don't like what I did there, to be honest, that much. I would just do something like that. And then maybe there, then this can be glass. And this seems a bit, so the text is a bit too small. Like you can go a little bit bigger with that text. This was display. Something like this. Like maybe here in this case, I would actually move the glass over here because everything was a little bit too central now. And you don't want that either. So something like this. Maybe an interesting point would be just to make it look a little bit more interesting. I don't know what car you're designing for, but let's just say it's an Italian. I'll take this sexy one, copy image. Come on, buddy. Great. Very useful. Thank you. Honestly. I'm not sure how well this will work. This was go to multiply. Okay, and for this one, oof, that's not a nice line I had there. So I'm just gonna, you can probably imagine that I'm just gonna fill this with a bit of red. One wheel. No, that was not a nice curve. Two wheel. Now let's take this away, make a new layer, and let's pick a red. Yes, I will take a break in a bit. I don't think this is working, but yeah, it's still worth a try. Yeah, the back of the car is not working that well for me here. But then you could also, so I'm just gonna select around it. Right, and then here I should, yeah, and then what you can do is just bring it down, and it might be working a little bit better, not a lot better, but a little bit better. So something like this, just to, if we're talking about, but yeah, actually no, don't do it. Really not that sure about this. It might, something like this. I don't particularly like it, but it might be something that you can do. But definitely give them some breathing room. Give them some breathing room, or if like what I like to do is a bit more cheatery. I just put in a sort of a, I don't know. Let's see which. Something like this, and then let's go with a pinkish, I feel like. Something like this might work. Oh, maybe let's do yellow. Yeah, let's do Lamborghini yellow. And then just the same trick. Paint these areas out. Work around with the 3D shape a little bit, so follow the shape that you give there already. Something like this. So you have to, yeah. So I would move this a little bit, maybe more like this. Yeah. I think this sort of, you could do something like this as well. But yeah. I do hope that helped. Okay, time for a micro break, and I think with that I will call this. It was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I will take this break and just turn it into a end of the video. And yeah, see you guys next week, or yeah, come by my Instagram. I do live stream quite often there as well. So good night everyone. Bye bye.